right, so the first thing that you are going to do, excuse me, is identify the various parts of the exterior of the heart. So this is what we call the ventral side of the heart. The ventral is the front side, the stomach side. The dorsal is the back side. Think of dorsal fins in a dolphin or a shark. So once you have your ventral side, your front side up, then you can tell it's the front side up because it has this sort of diagonal line. That is the coronary artery going across the middle of the heart there, or sort of the upper middle of the heart. Now remember, when we talk about sides of the heart, we're talking about it in terms of the previous owner of the heart, the sheep that gave us this heart. So even though this is my left over here, it is the right side of the heart. So this area, this large area, is the right ventricle. This whole area here is the left ventricle. The left ventricle is much larger than the right ventricle. We're going to think about why later on. Now, to see the atria, we have to look at it more from the upper side or the back. So the atria are these dark, sort of reddish flaps. They're much smaller than you might think. They do expand with blood in them, but they are much smaller than the ventricles. The right atrium is right here. Now, right atrium, remember the right side of the heart eventually pumps blood to the lungs, so it's getting the deoxygenated blood from the body. Even though the atria often get cut off by the slaughterhouse, yours may be less intact than mine, and this did get cut off a bit. You can often find, like right here, see this little tiny hole? That is where the superior vena cava, which brings blood from the upper part of the body, came into the right atrium. And if you put your finger inside, if you have a reasonably intact atrium, you can find the bottom hole, see that? That is where the inferior vena cava came into the atrium, which brings blood from the lower part of the body. Now the left atrium, it has several pulmonary arteries, pulmonary veins, sorry about that. Pulmonary veins that bring blood from the lungs. Remember, the oxygenated blood goes into the left side of the heart. And they're very small. They're smaller than the vena cava are. So you may be able to find, like here, you can see there's a tiny hole that's still intact. That's where one of the many pulmonary veins came in. But in general, these are harder to find because they're smaller holes, plus often like this, much of the atrium gets cut off. Now, as for all the arteries, notice the arteries are thick and rubbery. We're going to think about why a little bit later. The largest artery here is the aorta. It's coming out of the left side of the heart. The smaller arteries we're going to think about in a moment when we play with our heart and do our dissection, so we won't identify all of those right now.